So it'll unstretch. Oh, you are just a moment. All right. Welcome everybody. My name is Carkoon, and today I'll be showing off Galidor Any Percent. Definitely a strange game. So I'll have some time to explain how everything will work out once I start the run, since there will be a long cutscene to explain everything. Time will begin once the loading text disappears, once I start a new game. Sort of hard to predict when it'll do that, so you just have to keep your eyes peeled. I'll be starting the run in 3, 2, 1, go.
Nick,
So,
use your hands.
you might have a lot of questions. This is a very strange LEGO theme. So, Galidor is a theme that LEGO made during a time of financial crisis, which unfortunately didn't sell very well. It's sort of a sci-fi-ish based theme, where Nick Bluetooth and his crew are searching for the key fragments to Galidor, which is a hidden realm in the so-called outer dimension. And this outer dimension is something that the tyrant Gorm tries to assert total control over, and Galidor is the only realm that he doesn't control yet. And that's sort of the main plot of it, which is just Nicholas Bluetooth trying, along with his crew, trying to find the key fragments to reach Galidor before Gorm does. So right now, Nick Bluetooth and his crew have been captured on Gorm's ship, the Dreadnought, and have to find their way out to escape.
You have no escape. I also have your friends. Prepare yourself for the end.
All of them captured? Allegra? Nepal? Euripides?
And so,
Yes?
while
Nicholas?
all of them are captured, Nick and Jens will be finding their way out,
What about Allegra and the others?
escaping the Dreadnought. If you look closely during the cutscenes, then Jens will be the robot-looking creature, sort of gray with an orange highlight. He's sort of the techie of the crew, very technologically gifted and able to take care of all sorts of things. And he will also sort of be the guide for Nicholas in this game. Helping pilot the spaceship that they used to travel across the outer dimension, and also
Commander,
find all the key fragments.
To guard the fortresses. Tell them to expect Nicholas Bluetooth's arrival. Find him before he wreaks havoc on all of my important.
And of course, Gorm, the tyrant, wants to stop Nick Bluetooth and his crew's plans to recover the key fragments.
The map shows
So
that
he'll try his best, but
I should wait here and scan the area for any potential
no spoilers here, but
Whatever.
don't think that's going to go very well. So we're going to be thrown into the first level here, Arbro Highlands. Given that it is the first level, it's pretty simplistic and by design. Not a lot of things going on, just a bit of simple platforming, letting the player get accustomed to how to jump. Pretty crucial if you're playing a platformer. You'll see a couple of holograms of Jens, the robot. They're just there to guide the player. They don't really say much, anything helpful really. Press the A button to jump. Stomp on enemies to kill them. the usual deal. So, heading over here, we're going to be heading into our first section where we actually get to see Nick glitch for the first time. By stomping on certain enemies and with quote-unquote freeing them, such as this frog over here, we're going to see that Nick is going to turn his legs into frog legs. And this allows him to jump really high, as well as walk up some slopes that he otherwise wouldn't be able to. And we'll be using that a bit during the run, especially in this first level where it's only one of two glitch abilities that we get access to. We'll get to the second one when we get there. But for now, we'll just be sliding down some slopes here. Just try to cut the corners as tight as possible. And that's pretty much it. Normally you'd use a frog jump here to get up here, but you can just grab onto the ledge. You don't really need to worry about that slope either, because it doesn't properly work. And as the camera pan suggests here, we need to get up to that door by using these, by stepping on these buttons to make these panels swing, and that will allow these platforms to appear. And these platforms are what's going to get us up to the upper level and be able to reach that door. There's really not a lot to say for this first part of the level. It's really just introducing you to the base mechanics of the platforming, with getting used to the frog jumps and just the overall feel of how things go. So now that we've hit that third and final switch, we actually get to open the door and progress through the level. I'll be grabbing this checkpoint because this section is actually somewhat difficult and especially punishing if you do make a mistake. Because whenever you either die or fall off or somehow manage to mess up in Galidor, you respawn at the last checkpoint. And while there are a couple thrown about here and there, they're pretty far between each other, so don't want to take too many risks. There's another one there, but these jumps are simple enough, so we won't need that. Just a couple of rising and falling pillars, and now we're heading down a waterfall. Now coming up here is actually our first somewhat of a skip in the game. It's pretty simplistic, but normally you're supposed to slide on all the way down this waterfall and climb back up the waterfall again. But if you simply activate your frog glitch ability and time a jump well as simply cancel the glitch in midair, you can simply jump over and skip having to go down the waterfall. We'll be using a couple more frog jumps here just to get up. Stomp on this frog as well, just to avoid being stunned by being hit by the frog. It takes a long time to recover from it, so would rather just avoid it if we can. Coming up here, we have a pretty simple section. There are going to be a bunch of falling logs, and we simply have to time when we run so that we avoid getting hit by them. I'm just going to stand here and wait for this log to fall and keep running until we get to this set of canisters here that are called corium. These are usually fuel, used for fuel to, for instance, travel with the spaceship that both Nick Bluetooth and Jens traveled in. But because we don't actually travel per se, like navigate between the worlds with this spaceship. It doesn't really have much use. So instead, what it does instead is it increases our glitch meter, which is what we use to power our glitch abilities. It doesn't really impact the any percent run much, so we don't really pay attention to it per se, but it's there. Alright, so this is the final section of the first level. What we have to do is we have to use these cannons to knock down some wooden pillars that support the platform, which has the first key fragment. And what we'll be doing is we will be jumping onto these in a certain order. Normally you would pop, there's a small little platform right in front of us, where we would simply navigate to the right and keep ascending. But we'll actually be rerouting this a bit. So what we'll be doing instead is we'll be heading over to the left here. There's a checkpoint here, and what we can do is we can actually jump on some glitchy collision here and get up here first try. Very nice. Normally that jump is pretty difficult, so I'm glad I got that first try. So now we simply have to try to aim onto this collision somewhat. It can be somewhat tricky to find. And we can actually destroy more pillars than the game actually suggests, so might as well. Here we can activate our glitch powers again to get up to this higher ledge. Just means we have to do a bit less walking. We can destroy that fourth pillar, and now we only have one left. And we'll be heading up for a one-try trick here. Try to jump onto this log here and get over to the other side, which we did get. Very nice. And with that, we only have one pillar to get rid of, which can also be kind of tricky to see. But once we've done that, we just gotta head down. Hopefully we're not permanently stuck. This might be bad. Okay, never mind. We managed to glitch out of that. We're fine. It can be really easy to get stuck on that collision. And just to end it off, we can simply jump across a pit, collect our key fragment, see the Nika Bluetooth breakdancing a bit. Usual teenager activities.
A force field?
Yes, and the key signals are coming from behind it.
Ah, great. Can we break through?
If you can disable
Right,
its generator,
and this is
we
the
should be able to
second
create
level,
a hole in
still on
force
the
field.
same
Breaking
planet.
and entering is illegal on my world, you know. You better hide the egg somewhere. That field means we'll probably have company.
So the name of the game here is just to try to avoid the river here, because that will slow you down significantly. Really just a matter of trying to platform well. Not really much to say. We do have a new enemy here, actually, which is the crocodile, believe it or not. Sort of turns over when you try to jump onto it. So if you're just quick with your jumps, it doesn't really pose much trouble. Just a couple of ledge grabs here to get up this stream. And we have some big armor guy. We did get the power up before. So we're just going to be using that to, instead of knock down some heavy pillars, we'll be knocking over these pretty sick trees from the poisoned river. And here's actually where we get introduced to a new power-up after we defeat this evil Nick clone. And you're gonna see that Nick has grown a strange new arm this actually allows him to grapple, which is probably the most fun part of this game. And we're going to be using this to do a skip immediately. We're going to try and fling ourselves across over here, which just means that we have to manage to skip out on some grappling and get a better line overall. We did manage to fall down here, but we can always recover that, so that's fine. Just gonna fell down some more trees to clear a path for Nick Bluetooth to ascend the waterfall here. Grabbing that ledge can be a bit tricky. Doesn't always let you grab it from certain spots. Here's our good old friend the crocodile again, and some strange creatures over there as well. They deal quite a bit of damage, so we just tend to avoid them. They don't give us any flinch abilities either. Now we will be picking up these frog legs, but we won't need them quite yet, so we're just going to move on, or we're going to get yet another power-up. This time getting a strange arm cannon, very reminiscent of Mega Man. And we can actually use this to hit some switches, and these can do various things, such as raise these grapple platforms, which we'll be using to progress here. This might also be a good time to mention that Galidor's camera really likes to fight against you, as you saw there. Not really giving us a clear view of what we actually want to see. And that will be a common theme throughout the run. Now we are running slightly low on clinch here, but that should be fine. We should get restored here. And that's what we needed the frog legs for, just to be able to get up there. So we made it through unscathed. This is the last time we'll see the crocodile. Won't see him ever again. So say goodbye to Mr. Crocodile. Just some more grappling to end off this level. Have one last section after that. We'll simply be jumping into the stream and switch to our arm cannon. Try to hit the switch, though this enemy really isn't being cooperative, so we're gonna have to take him out. That just happens sometimes. They can sort of just be in your way. We're gonna have to ascend this platform by hitting these switches, which will disable these barriers. We just have we just disabled that barrier, so we're going to disable this next one. So it seems like this guy has a bit of beef with us, so we'll try to deal with that first. Hopefully he doesn't attack us here. Oh, he does. Just for safety, I am going to grab this shield power up here, which just restores our shield to full. And that allows us to safely grab this key fragment.
Well, that was easy.
And that means that we now have
You've
2
got to
key
be
fragments.
kidding me.
Means we're well on our way to collect all of them to complete the key. However,
Perhaps it's
unfortunately,
time to use my best weapons.
Nick Bluetooth fell down from that
Yes,
structure,
my
and now he
best
is magically going
weapons.
to end up in a volcano. Because that is how Galidor works. So you might have recognized that character. That character is Euripides, which is part of the Galidor crew. And unfortunately, he has been turned against us using Gorm's mind control powers. So we're gonna have to fight him now. Just the sad reality of a teen in a sci-fi world. Some simple platforming to get over to the boss over here. Now, if you've ever played Super Mario Galaxy, you are probably going to recognize this as from a Bowser Jr. boss fight. Looks oddly familiar. Instead of being powered by a Power Star, though, this is going to be powered by Corium or Glinch Energy, one of the two. And what we simply have to do is shut off these power sources. Do that 4 times, and that's pretty much the boss.
Euripides was once weak. I am now more powerful than all, except Gorm.
So that's pretty much what we're gonna do. The first attack that we're gonna see here is some spinning fire thing. Doesn't really do much to us though, we can just stand in this corner. Usually doesn't hit us, but it's a lot easier than trying to run away from it. He's also going to be spawning these big guys. I think they're just called Armored 3D in the game files, so you can call them whatever you want. I guess we'll just go with the Big John for the sake of it. So we just defeat a couple of Big Johns and avoid this laser beam attack. And that should be it for the first phase. And all of the phases that are left are pretty much just a variant of these 3 attacks in varying numbers and sequence. It'll always begin with one of these spinning fire things though. So beyond that, it's really not that difficult. Pretty hard to lose time here, since everything's pretty much the same. One thing that is cool to mention is that this power-up, these gauntlets, do prevent you from taking knockback and also lets you take half the damage that you normally would. Which is really useful, especially in one level, and here as well. Just not have to rely on the shield pickups as much. One annoying thing about this boss fight though is that if you do fall off or die somehow, then you do have to restart the boss fight all the way from the beginning. There's no checkpoint or anything, so really punishing if you do mess it up. Part of this boss fight is also RNG with the phase where Euripides spawns the Big Johns. Sometimes he spawns 2, sometimes he spawns 3. Doesn't really lose that much time, but it's just annoying to deal with sometimes when you have to get rid of them, because whenever he spawns 3, it usually leaves less time to avoid the laser attack. But with that, that should be the... Never mind. Didn't quite know that the third phase had an additional laser attack, but it's easy enough to dodge. And we also have the health pickup that will make this a whole lot easier. And with that, we are on to the final phase. which is mostly the same. More fire, more lasers, more Big Johns. And that's pretty much it. And use this slam attack to deal with them, but we can also get up close to personal and slam them in the face. Just gonna avoid the fire by standing here in the corner. Should have another phase of these, and then also another laser phase, I believe. And I believe that is will be the end of it once we destroy the power cell here. Yep, looks like it. We're just gonna punch this. And with that, we shut off the last power source for Euripides' strange contraption. Gonna head to the middle, and that concludes the level.
What happened to you with Gorm?
I think that
And by
Gorm was holding
defeating
us in
Euripides
prison
here,
somewhere.
we free him from
But I
his
don't know
mind control,
where. He used a machine to dominate
which
my
now means that
mind
he is
and
free.
placed me here. I am sorry for attacking you, Nicholas.
No, it's cool. Just glad you're back to being... you. We should move on and collect more of the key fragments.
Doesn't quite mean that we're
Yes,
done
I
on
suggest
this
that you
planet yet.
search
We have
each
one
of
more
them.
level on this planet
You're not
before we
coming with
move
us.
on.
No. I will try to contact some friends.
And it is
and
also
see if I can
coincidentally
find
the
clues
shortest
of
in the
my
game.
imprisonment.
I think it's
Okay,
about a
don't stay
minute
too
long or
long.
so. So really short. Doesn't even have an intro cutscene, so that definitely helps with its length. And this probably also is the most broken strategy in Galidor. By simply leaning forward at a certain angle, you can shoot up into the sky. Or when you're normally supposed to just dive down. I did not quite manage to demonstrate it there. Hope to demonstrate that on a later level, but you sort of just shoot up into the sky if you don't fall down. So I'm going to have to climb up here, but it's a very strange level, regardless. And with that, we see a camera with this pillar being raised, and Carrion trying to snatch the key fragment, but us being Nick Bluetooth, we just can't let that slide. So we're going to glide over there and just take it nice and easy. Gonna give us plenty of time to get over there. We're just gonna spin into it, and that gives us our key fragment. And yeah, that concludes the level. That's how short it is.
Oh, not sewers.
Actually, the drainage and irrigation
And with that, we'll
systems
be
of
moving on
Dredgeville are a
to our
technical
next level
marvel.
here, which is
They
the
recycle
sewers.
everything, which has become so important since
Now
Gorm
switching
cut the
to
city
a
off from
different
the outer
planet
dimension.
called Dredgelvin, which
This
is
manhole
pretty much
should
the
take you
equivalent of a
directly into the
futuristic
fan
city,
system. Be careful, Nicholas.
envisioned by the
Or
early
else they'll be
2000s.
serving Nick Bluetooth on the menu. I get it.
And we'll be going to going into the sewers this time to get our next key fragment. We'll be defeating this enemy first so that we get our Lynch powers back. And I'll just be cancelling it for now, just to conserve that Lynch meter, because we'll be needing a lot of it. And to be shooting these targets. Just need one more target here, and that concludes that. We'll be stomping on this poor frog as well. be able to walk up the slope. Without the our glitch abilities, we wouldn't be able to otherwise. Just be sliding down. Just going to stick to the left here, just to try and avoid the enemies as well. And we have a fairly long section of hitting these switches on the walls and standing on these spinning platforms. We'll also have to jump up here on these higher elevations. This is just going to be repeated for a little while. Same ordeal here, just hit the switch and stand on the spinning platform. Jump over these lasers. Jump up to a higher elevation. Walk for a little while. And hey, would you look at that, it's another switch. And another rotating platform. Haven't seen that one before. But I believe that is the end of it for now. Just heading further into the sewers here. Oh, never mind. How nice. There's another switch here for us to hit, but this time it's going to raise a couple of pillars that we need to use to jump across. And there we go. I believe that's our last set of rotating platforms. So you probably won't see these in a while. Luckily, we don't really have to worry about taking damage that much in the run, given that Nick Bluetooth has so much, has so many hits that he can take, and the game is pretty generous with placing out energy refills. So you really don't need to worry about it at all. See, there's another one. So here we're just going to be jumping on these floating platforms in the river, the sewage system. Just going to try to avoid falling down as it slows us down quite significantly. So here we have our next section of the sewers. We have a checkpoint right here, so that'll get us back up to full shield again. Have some strange shower curtains there. Not really sure what that's meant to do. And here we have what is presumably a silo of some kind, or perhaps where they treat the sewage water. We're just going to be heading up this with some simple platforming. I believe there's a donation coming in, so that will be a great time to read it.
We have a donation actually, sorry, it took a little bit for me to unmute. We have $10 from Nick Bluetooth saying donate for Galidor. So yeah, donate for Galidor. It's time to glitch around. To do that, back to you, carkoon, with this amazing run.
Thank you, Nick Bluetooth. Can't believe you actually showed up to LEGOthon and came to donate. Very nice. So yeah, most of this is just navigating through the sewers and trying to get as fast as you can. Really making sure that you time these swings well so that you don't have to sit around and sort of try to swing yourself to get enough momentum, is because that time can really add up as well. Sewers is probably also the level that is the most annoying to deal with the camera here, giving you very limited visibility of what you actually want to see, which is what's in front of you. Especially in those tunnel sections, just points the camera straight down at Nick's feet. Just a couple shots here to hit these switches so that we can reach a higher elevation. Just sticking to the left, trying to take the best line that we can. Once again, camera being very unhelpful here. We have some more grappling here to do as well. Just gonna try to make sure that I get across there. And coming up, we actually have the last climbing section here with the frog jumps. After that, we'll be having some other difficulties. Rather harder, definitely more punishing jumps. You'll definitely see it when you get there. Ooh, that is not great. I wasn't quite expecting to fall down there, but we did manage to recover. We just fell down a little bit, so we didn't die or anything. So that's still fine. Might have spoke a bit too soon. But after running past these evil Nick clones, we'll just be on our merry way to the final section of this level, and what is arguably the hardest.
Would you like your Nick sliced?
So yeah, what we have to do is scale up that large tower, and because there is no checkpoint or anything, besides this one, if we fall down the entire way, we have to go up the entire thing again. So it is definitely very punishing if you manage to fall off. Especially if you fall off at the very top. I'll just be waiting for this rotating platform to allow us to jump on. And after this, there will always be a grappling section. Luckily, we can completely stop our momentum if we just cancel our clinch powers. So that really helps a lot with this platforming section, otherwise this would be pretty much impossible. So we have a slightly longer grappling section here. Pretty simple though, nothing too difficult. Just gotta make sure you stop your powers in time. And after this little platforming section, this will be the last time that we have to use the grapple here. Sadly, that wasn't really a favorable time to jump onto that platform, so I'm just gonna wait for it to come around again. Would much rather play it safe. And here we have a little bit of a skip. We can just use this to swing onto the platform here. And sort of just collect the key fragments. If you do swing a bit too far, then you just get a bit of strange camera angle there, so that's why that looked so weird. Unfortunately though, it seems like the sewers are starting to blow up, and Nick, freaking out, looks at the ship and turns his arms into a plane and flies away. Because that is what happens in Galidor. And that leads us into a 4-minute auto-scroller, where we do pretty much nothing. So, yeah, there's not really much you can do to speed this up. Not that we know of anyway. Can't really manipulate the camera much to give us any more speed. hitting objects doesn't really lose any time either. So it's sort of similar to the Euripides fight that we had earlier with the strange spider mech. So I guess this would be a great time to sort of recap what Nick Bluetooth has done so far. So far he has collected a couple of key fragments, sort of working his way towards being able to reassemble the key of Galidor. And he's also freed Euripides. And right now he's just trying to escape the sewers. This is also a great time to remind you that we are raising money for charity. We're raising money for Extra Life, a charity that helps children in hospitals for a great cause, so if you want to donate, now's a better time than ever. You'll also be seeing that I'll be grabbing these Glinch orbs. This is just to make sure that I don't run out of Glinch. If I do run out of Glinch, then the level ends, and I have to restart the level. I do believe there are actually checkpoints for this level, but I'd rather just play it on the safe side and collect all the Glinch that I can, just to make sure that I can complete the auto-scroller. There are a couple of shield pickups thrown around here as well, but they're not really that necessary. It's pretty easy to avoid all of these lasers, so not a great need for them. There's some more avoiding of these lasers. Don't really need to pay attention to collecting these canisters as well. These canisters of thorium, since they don't really do much for us in our run. The only time that they've ever really contribute to something useful is to upgrade our Glinch meter. And the only time that is really relevant is in the second to last level, and the first part of the level we just played before this, where the Glinch meter is having a longer Glinch meter is really, really useful, just because it gives you more time to hit those switches. And with that, I believe we're actually getting close to the end of this auto-scroller, and might be finishing this in just under half a minute. So that means that we'll be seeing Nick Bluetooth collect yet another key fragment soon. Yep, you can see the end of the tunnel over there. And with that, Nick Bluetooth collects yet another key fragment. I sure see nothing bad happening here. But unfortunately, he gets struck by lightning out of the sky and falls down yet again. And this actually makes him land in an ice rink of all places.
Paul?
Grr! You wish it was Nepal. We are Nepal.
Strangely,
now.
the character
Gorm is
Nepal
very
was
angry.
previously
Our anger
previously
is
blue,
Gorm's
is
anger.
now purple
Gorm's
for some
anger is
reason.
ice cold, like your
And just like
fear.
Euripides, he is also mind-controlled by Gorm.
Ladies and gentlemen, in tonight's
And they'll be
event,
playing a
Nicholas
game
Bluetooth,
of
criminal,
Just
plays
Ice.
Just Ice against
A very
Lieutenant
obvious
of our favorite
ploy on the
Gorm.
word justice,
Whoops, guess they
which
don't
is
like the spotlight.
made especially apparent
This
when
Just Ice game is brought to you
the
by
sort
the
of
National Just Ice League and Gorm's Benevolent Sports Fund, and is sponsored by the legislators
sentence
of
they
regional
used to
America.
inaugurate the game is called
Game
"Let
continues
just
until one side is defeated
let
and
just
there
ice
are
be
no
done,
rules.
let
Let
justice
Just
be
Ice
done."
be done.
So yeah, very obvious reference to that. If you're wondering what the picture on the info board there is, that's just a picture of Nick Bluetooth from the TV series. So to start off the level, we'll just be grabbing as much glitch as we possibly can. We're definitely going to need it for this section coming up, as we use this cannon to activate these switches. And this will activate these platforms. Wasn't quite able to catch that cycle there, but it would be coming from the left. So we just need to jump up here and make our way up here. We need to hit 3 switches here to activate these lamps. And this will allow us to break the ice in the middle of the arena. Now, crucially, these are on a timer, so we actually have some time constraint to hit these. Kind of dumb because these are difficult enough as they are to actually hit, and sometimes the enemies can just hit you off while you're swinging, which makes this level a whole lot harder than it actually has to be. But we're making great progress so far. Wasn't quite able to swing over there, but we'll be jumping down here and hitting this ice here to break off part of it. And we'll just be doing this 2 more times. I believe another donation has come in, so this would be a great time to read it.
Indeed, we have another donation, this time from Janik, who ran LEGO Racers 2 days ago. And it just says, first time donating, long time glitcher, go save planet Kek carkoon.
Ah, yes.
With
Thank you,
that, I give
Janik.
it back to you.
Yeah, that is a reference to another planet that we'll be visiting soon, which coincidentally is named Planet Kek. Very fitting name for such a great game. We'll be visiting that planet soon enough. Not quite yet, though. So you guys will have to look forward to that. Ooh, I wasn't quite sure I'd be able to make it over there, but it seems like I did. That is very nice, actually. And yeah, whenever Nepal screams, that's the cue to sort of break this. And with that, we are onto our 3rd phase, where we do exactly the same thing. How exciting. Just this time slightly harder. Oh, yep, camera really wanted me to do that. Yeah, that camera was really working against me there. Sort of guiding me in the wrong direction. That's a very common theme for Galidor, unfortunately. Especially for these levels that are already difficult enough. Alright, that just means we have 1 target left. I believe that is a hologram of a Nick's head as well. Didn't quite notice that until today. But with that, we are pretty much done with the level. Very nice, actually, considering that it is very easy to soft lock on this one. So with that, we have freed Nepal of Gorm's mind control.
Hey!
But while
Get
Nick
back
tries to
here!
show Nepal the new key fragment, it actually gets stolen by a bot, so we're gonna have to try and retrieve that now.
Wait till I get my hands on you!
Yeah, Nick Bluetooth is really trying to get that key fragment back, but we'll make sure to. So we'll be using our trusty arm cannon to deal with this bot. Or we'll just be using this to hit the switch, just to get up. We'll be dealing our first hit of damage here, which will cause it to run away. I guess it is to note that you do have to hit this bot a certain amount of times, and depending on how slow you are, this fight can drag on for a very, very long time. It stops at certain points, but if you're not fast enough for some of them, the bot just runs away, which can be very annoying. I'm going to try and get a hit off here if I manage to grapple here correctly, which I do seem to be able to do. That is very nice. That is actually really hard to do. So we'll just be on our merry way here. This section you can't really get any hit off right here. We can get a hit off here though. The bot is fairly generous. And we'll try to just make our way across here. Try not to fall down because that would be very costly. And if everything goes well, then we should only need one more hit to actually finish this boss fight, which is the second fastest that you can actually finish it. That is actually really nice. And with that, we are actually done on the planet Drijal, which means that we'll be moving on to our favorite planet, Kek. Really just goes to show how far ahead of its time Galidor was in many regards.
Nepal. Nepal! What is on Kek?
Allegra, of course.
Kek.
And yes, as Nepal mentioned, the final crew member that we have to save, which is coincidentally Nick's best friend,
Will try to use all of his
Allegra.
powers of illusion to stop you.
So we'll be going to Planet Kek to
Just
save her,
remember that
as
nothing on Kek
as well
is
as
real.
collecting
map is
the
detecting
last
key
of the key fragments.
Key fragments? Here?
Perhaps your father thought to hide them in the place that Gorm would never look.
So this level starts out fairly simple, but this is, and as well as the other levels on Planet Kek, the hardest in the game. So I'll have to pay special attention to try not to fall down here, because it is very punishing and also very difficult to actually platform here. These move at different speeds, which can make them very hard to account for. You don't need to jump on that fifth platform there, you can just jump straight there. I guess this would also be a great time to mention that for every time I fall off or die in any sort of capacity, I will be donating $5. So I'll try to play my best. Ooh. Yeah, you can ledge grab onto those as well. Makes it a little bit easier, but it's still really difficult to time those jumps. These enemies are also really difficult to deal with sometimes. Those big enemies can deal half of your health in damage. So if you get hit twice, then you're done for, sort of say. So we just have to head through here and jump on these platforms. That should not have worked, but we're through. So we have to stomp on this enemy and free them. just like we did with Euripides and Nepal earlier. We'll be using this to knock over the unextendable bridge. And that allows us to move in onto the second part of this level, which is also really difficult with some tight platforming. Now we'll want to get rid of these enemies in our way though, since they'll be a nuisance otherwise. Also gives us a bit of flinch, so that we don't have to worry about that. And this is also, yet again, just demonstrating how useful this power can be, as it negates any knockback and just lets you take half of the damage you normally would. Makes this a lot easier. And we'll be using it in later parts of the run as well, just to avoid some damage. Especially for this level. I'll be sending my arm cannon here so I can take care of that enemy. That enemy can drain your flinch meters, so I'd rather get rid of them. Yeah, these doors here you can't actually activate unless you hit them while they're green, so sometimes I have to wait for that to happen. So I'll just be jumping to sort of prevent myself from moving on the conveyor belt. Here we have our evil Nick clone again, which will give us our grappling powers back, which we'll use to navigate this little section. Surprisingly fast grappling. Might have been because of the camera. I'm not really used to that. We can simply ignore that Big John. Doesn't really pose much of a threat to us. We move on to what is probably the hardest section of this level, where you have to cross this chasm, which can be very tricky to judge. But it seems like we judged that perfectly this time, which means we can simply move on. Here we have a final grappling section, and that should be pretty much all of the platforming out of the way. The one that we really need to pay attention to anyway. Because now we have these very intimidating saws, and normally those would deal 4 hearts of damage, but if we simply use our gauntlets, then they don't deal much damage to us at all, only 2, which makes that a lot more manageable, and definitely a lot safer to do. And with that, we just have to activate those switches and knock down that bridge, knock down the door as well, and head on to the final section of the level. So this is by far the easiest section of the level coming up here. We just have to wait for this elevator to activate so that we can head over there. Now I will be switching to my arm cannon here, because what we're going to need to do is to blow up some sort of panels, I believe, that power this projection of Gorm's head on the bottom floor. And by doing so, we managed to get a key fragment, which is the second to last one that we actually need to complete the key to Galidor. So I'll just be jumping down here. We have a specific route for this. Just destroyed one. I'll be destroying the second one here. Jump around to collect some flinch, as well as head over to the next one over here. Simply jump down here and turn around and shoot the other one. Here's our second to last one, I believe. And then our final one is behind this raised platform. And by doing so, this protection of Gorm's head will explode in a very cool fashion, and there's a key fragment.
So much for Keck.
So much for Keck indeed.
I feel...
Now, Galidor is going to predate Avengers Endgame by about 20 years, and Nicholas Bluetooth is going to get Thanos-snapped onto another part of Keck.
Jens? Hello? Jens?
And Jens, not being able to communicate with Jens anymore, has to navigate through Keck all by himself. So that is exactly what we're going to help Nick Bluetooth do here, by swinging across with our trusty grapple. Which can be pretty tricky, mind you. Going to be grabbing that checkpoint just for safety. You don't really need to worry much about having a glitch here either. We get plenty on our way, so that's nice not to have to worry about. And there are so many other things to worry about with this level. Not with this part particularly. This is the easier part, but the second and third part are by far a lot more difficult. But we'll get to those when we actually arrive there. Have some more swinging to do, and then after that we should be on our merry way to the second part of this level. And like I tried to demonstrate in Higher Ground, which was the level where we just used our flying powers to get to the key fragments, if you don't fully hold down on your control stick when you try to fly, you can do this and just get practically infinite height. We really don't need that much height though, so I'm going to limit it a bit here. And you might see a little faint outline of a platform. That's where we're trying to get to. I'm going to try to navigate there now. I might have overshot it a bit. Sadly, I undershot that. I might be able to save this. Yes, I can. Nice. So I'm going to try and find the spawn trigger for these enemies. Sadly, all my glitch was drained, so I really need to make sure that I get mine. But I really don't want to play too risky here, because those enemies do two-shot you. So if you do get hit, then that's really bad, considering that you don't really have any checkpoints there. This does mean that we're onto the third and final section of this level, which is also coincidentally the second to last one. We're going to try to use the glitch that we did before to try and get up to these platforms early and not have to do any of the parkouring here. So I'm going to try to do that now. Okay, that didn't quite work. I'll try that again. Ideally you go all the way up to the third floor, but that can be pretty difficult. Oh, that is very unfortunate. I did manage to get up there, but I just got stuck on that platform. I'm going to try to just make my way up here now. But the game really doesn't want me to, so maybe if I try this here. Okay, we'll just have to make it onto this first platform, but you get the gist. So we just need to swing around here and hit these bomb things. We drop into this pit. There are 6 of them. And we just do this for each side. The one annoying thing about it though is that you can run out of glitch pretty fast while doing it. So you always have to end up restocking here. I'll try to glide over to the second section here, if I can get this. Or possibly just glide up to the first section, like so. Very nice. It does mean though that I have to sort of complete this, otherwise, or be able to swing onto here. Otherwise, it will be very hard to do this. Not looking great. I will just be playing this safe now. I do have one more to do there, but I might actually just be able to get up here and do the last one. That would be amazing. Okay, not quite going where I want to go. So that's sort of unfortunate. This is a really difficult level to do, so certainly not an easy feat to do. Sadly, that does mean that we haven't quite gotten up here yet though, so I might just try to make my way over to the second platform here, just to make sure that we have it. And I'll also go up here to grab some more glint. And hopefully we can actually just jump across here. That is probably what I would have done ideally, just to begin with. And now we just have this middle platform to get rid of things for. Just going to play it safe again, just to make sure that we have enough glint just to finish this. It is very punishing if you fall into the middle hole there, because that means that you'll have to restart this entire section. So I'd rather just play it safe here. But we really don't have that many targets left, so... Huh. Didn't get this first one here. And that is also coincidentally the last one that we'll have to do. And with that, we finished this level. And this also means that Nick will be collecting his last key fragment. And this furthermore also means that we have actually collected all key fragments to assemble the key to Galidor.
The key!
So, all's well and good now, right? We can just head over to Galidor and,
Hey, I am so
everything's,
sorry.
Are you
gonna be
okay?
completely fine.
Me? I was gonna ask you the same question.
Now, if you were being
I
very,
don't know how, but I'm okay.
attentive, then
So, what's new?
you might have heard
Everybody's
Jens
free.
say that nothing
And
on
guess
tech
what?
is real.
What?
I
And
got
perhaps
first-class ticket
Might just be a bit of
to
foreshadowing here,
Galidor.
but perhaps
Can I?
Nick Bluetooth should have
Oh, Nick,
listened
this
to
is
Jens'
fantastic.
advice.
What do we do?
I don't know. Take it to the gate? In fact, what are we waiting for?
So Nick, very naively
Come on.
believing that this is
It'll be okay.
in fact Allegra, falls right into
Allegra!
Gorm's trap
Run!
as he reveals that he is now in possession of the key.
Nicholas Bluetooth, your quest has met its end. I have the key. I will assemble my armies, and then...
Order will come to Galidor, Lord Gorm.
So with
I got
that,
us a first-class
Gorm
ticket
now has
to
total control
Galidor.
of every realm
Now,
in the
Nicholas
outer dimension.
Bluetooth, I leave you here to rot in this lonely, illusionary hell.
So it would seem that everything's over. But that means that we'll be heading into our final level.
The stranger once told me that the road to
And,
heaven leads through the
Nick
depths
is
of hell.
now unfortunately
Nicholas had reached those
locked up in a
depths.
cage.
Gorm had the key, and Galidor lay beyond reach.
So far, Nick has collected all the key fragments that will lead to Galidor, a hidden realm in the outer dimension. And the tyrant Gorm wishes to control all of the outer dimension. Now that he has a key, he has total control over the outer dimension.
Gorm has won.
Oh, how?
He tricked me into giving him the key. I fell for it.
And that means that surely the quest for Galidor is well and over. But not everything is quite as it seems, as yet again Nick Bluetooth will be turning into a plane, and he will in fact be chasing after Gorm in the vinculum here. And this is actually where we have a new strat that I found. Normally this ship would move around very erratically, but if you just pause and then alt-tab the game, it freezes the movement of the ship. So we're just going to try and hit this target here. And I'm going to do this again, just to make sure that it's actually fully frozen. And if you hit the targets quickly enough, you can actually completely skip the phases that they're actually meant to have. That would otherwise take a lot of time. And with that, that is the first phase done of that fight. In the previous world record for this level, it took around 40 seconds, and I believe it took around maybe 20 or 30 now, which is a pretty massive time save. And it also makes just makes it a lot more consistent as well, which is very nice. Especially for a split that is at the very end.
No dice. If only you understood the power. Together we could change everything. We could bring true perfection.
So, Gorm is on a bit of a yapping spree here. So is Nick Bluetooth. Something about friendship and how it's better than sort of obsessing over total control of the outer dimension. Sadly, this phase is no more consistent. It's really just a matter of trying to mash as fast as you can on your controller and simply doing the best of what you have. Normally you can finish this phase 2 in about half a minute if you're really good at mashing, but as I'm not, especially on controller, this is gonna take a little while. It'll be pretty hard to hit Gorm as a target as well. I'll be making sure to grab as much glitch as I can, just to make sure, and that is time actually. Forgot to mention that. Time does end as soon as this cutscene plays.
This is only the beginning.
But the future has begun. In Galidor.
And that is pretty much it for Galidor any percent.
Thing that it needs. Hope.
Yeah, that means that we have now saved the outer dimension. Really happy to be able to show this off, and yeah. Special shoutouts to the LEGOthon organizers for letting me be on here, and that's it for the run.